What's going on, guys? Sorry I couldn't be in class. I'm going to be doing this virtually with Christian, so hopefully you enjoy. So let's talk about our stakeholder. Our stakeholder is going to be Urbanites and then Chutes Basin. So who are we? So we're going to be people that live in cities, apartments, townhomes, single-family homes, just anyone that really relies on water from an irrigation district, or just doesn't have a well. So that would be pertain to us, and that could also be like golf courses or breweries. That would be also urbanites as well. So how do we interact with water? I have a pink cup here full of coffee. For indoor use, I used water to brew the coffee from the tap. So that would be one of my indoor uses. We have showers, dishwashers, laundry. Those are other things, but we'll dive deeper into it. Outdoor is gonna be like watering your grass, set up your slip and slide, and or washing your car. So how many of us are there? So if you look to our slides now, on the far left, that's gonna be Deschutes County. That's roughly 211,000 people. And then to your right, it's gonna be Crook County. That's at 28,000 people. And then for Wasco in Jefferson County, those are also roughly 25,000 people. Those numbers are going up, and these should be the latest version for 2025. Excuse me. So let's talk about what we would do or how to be impacted without water. So like I said, we have a lot of indoor uses, and from our previous field trip is we only have a certain amount to go around. So it's very likely for us to run dry one day. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but we gotta talk about it now. So if we don't have water, we don't have really the things we need. We're probably gonna use it just for individual things like just probably sustainability. So we just need it to survive at that point if we overuse it. And yeah, so we'll move on now. Let's talk about the hydrology of the Upper Deschutes Basin. So if you look at the Cascade Ranges on the far left and up, being on the Pacific Northwest, we have a maritime front which allows that cool breeze air to get pushed up those mountain slopes. And what happens is that temperature and dew point gets closer together and actually precipitates into snow or rain. We get on average roughly 80 inches a year. Not always the case, but that's generally the range for like 10 years. And what happens is over the year, this is like our savings account. It'll melt and then it'll start seeping into the super young volcanic rock, which is super permeable. It could be those large clasts that are not permeable, but they allow water to influx through them. So kind of like our last field trip, or they could be rocks like this, which is gonna be sponge-like, and they're like a coffee filter, as you could say, and it just allows it to seep through. At that point, that water will now get pushed into our groundwater table. And if you look on these lines here, there's some contour lines might be a little bit hard to see, but with the steeper gradients or closer lines together, that just means it's going to be a steeper gradient. So if you can kind of imagine the Cascades on the west, it's going to be flowing downwards to the east. So that's going to be the low elevation, and followed by that. And then we'll move on to the springs that I have. I couldn't really find the exact one for the Metolius, so that was pretty cool, but using this one, the water from the groundwater actually turns into surface water or meets underwater into the channels. So you can see the tributaries here, and then you'll see where it feeds into the Metolius, Tumalo, and then Fall River. And it also gets added into our reservoirs from that groundwater table. Moving on. Alrighty, so continuing on with the slide, I said those are going to be our primary uses, going to be indoor, outdoor uses, and then the breweries. The breweries are actually only 1.7% of our water usage, but beer's cool. I like beer, and it's just one of the things that Central Oregonians love. And then going to our data chart, so we have our indoor use, and then our outdoor use is going to be on top. So indoor, outdoor, and then the lines here I placed are just going to be for months. So the first far left one on the yellow is going to be February, and you'll start to see once we get to the summer is that outdoor use one really spikes. So I'll let you know when we're using the water. It's going to be mostly in the summer months, especially outdoors, and the indoor use is going to be pretty linear all year round, even a little bit more in the summertime. Going over to our pie chart, we have our single family and our multifamily, which is going to be so condos and apartments are going to be on the left for multifamily, and then our single family is going to be like say you live with your mom and dad or you have your own home, that's going to be a single family. And that is actually 68% of the water use, which is a lot. And then commercial, which is going to be like golf courses, stuff like that. That's 25%, which is only a fourth of it. Still pretty big, but not as bad as us in the households. And then irrigation only and meters only roughly about 7%. Alrighty, slide. We have the amount that we're using, right? So our chart here, the biggest one I want to point out is going to be the single family and then the multifamily. The commercial use is pretty high, so we'll get into each one of them. Single family is going to be up at roughly 400 monthly gallons, and then that's going to be pretty average up until we get to middle of the year, May to January. It's going to spike up to roughly 500, and then just stays roughly at 450 to 500 for the rest of the year. For the multifamily, there's some small spikes here that kind of match that single family usage. But the reason it's so low is mostly because those like apartments, townhomes, they usually have newer systems to keep water in place, or like more efficient sprinkler heads or whatever it may be. So that also drives that water usage down.
Hey guys, there's a lot to go over, so I'm just going to get right into the beneficial use. Our beneficial use definition is to ensure that there is a clean and reliable water source for our homes, public health, and a plan that is environmentally friendly to us and to the animals around us. So we want clean tap water, cooking, showering, anything you may do at home, or businesses have tap water as well. So then we go into efficient infrastructure. As you can see, there's a drain pipe that's busted. We don't want that. So we want less waste or leakage in homes and farms. And then we go into recreation. We have lots of water that goes to our parks, golf courses, gardens, breweries, and finally our emergency water supply would be drought preparedness for fires and hospitals. So let's move to the next slide. So this is a video of a Irrigreen irrigation system, and it focuses solely on your grass. You can program it with your phone, and you have no overlap. You can use less water in a more efficient time frame. That's saving you money and saving the city water. If everyone switches over to this over a certain time period, we'll save a ton of water, and everyone will be saving money, which in turn allows us to buy this kind of thing. So it's efficient in multiple ways. This will cost anywhere between $1,500 and $2,600, depending on the package you get. So it's fairly economical. And I have another one I'll show you on the next slide. It's only $500. It's called the Auto System. And right there you can see it says save up to $2,240. So it's showing you what you would spend if you did it professionally, you did it yourself, and then with Auto. This is a little more economical for a smaller yard. I think it's portable as well, so you can move it around, but it still does the same thing. You can program it with your phone. The one other thing that I would say about these systems is that they are up and coming. So the more we use them, the better the technology gets and the more efficient they get, maybe including later on commercial use. So I think this is a very good start that anyone can do in works towards our water crisis. Thanks for listening.